week edition of Journalists Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubaku. Today on the program, protesters accuse governors of leading revolt against Oshiomhole as APC reps announce plan to defect. Senate passes Electoral Act, pegs campaign expenses, and later on the show, presidency steps into NHIS crisis as reps resolve to probe agency. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Mojid Jamiu, and Afolabi Akinola. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Yes, we're still on the war of attrition, rocking the All Progressive Congress, APC, over the outcome of its primaries. It's pitching more groups against one another within the fold of the ruling party. As APC National Chairman Adams Oshiomhole faces stiffer plots for his removal, he can count on some foot soldiers to support in this battle, as party supporters sympathetic to his cause are backing him. During a protest at the APC National Secretariat in Abuja on Tuesday, some supporters under the aegis of Federation of Buhari support groups accused 3 governors of spearheading the revolts against Oshiomhole. While the crisis rages on, another is brewing in the National Assembly. Aggrieved APC House of Representative members have resolved to dump the party. The grouse stemmed from the fact that they could not secure APC return tickets. Babajide, yesterday we've been on this series since Monday, especially the intra-party crisis within the All Progressive Congress. You know, on Monday, when I mentioned that stakeholders, some stakeholders wanted Oshiomhole out, you said it emphatically that some governors, we should call a speed. Now they've narrowed it down. There are 3 governors that might not be happy with the outcome of the primary election in their states. And Oshiomhole is saying that these people, they don't have the majority, that he has the majority, that people, you know, but they are still encouraging him for his reform. At the same time, we gather that these people, they are gathering signature, gathering all other governors, governizing them to, with a bid to ease out Adams Oshiomhole. Will these 3 governors succeed?
First and foremost, I disagree that it's those 3 governors that want Oshiomhole out. Bindo cannot want Oshiomhole out. Everything that Bindo wants, they've given to him. It won't be a fool to say, okay, Oshiomhole must go. It won't be a fool. Politics is about interest. They've pleased him. Because what transpired in Adamawa State was a sham. It wasn't primaries in the real sense of the word. You know? Anyone who can hold any of the holy books and swear that what transpired in Adamawa was primaries, then you know that that person does not think about going one day to face his maker. Because there was no primaries. But at the end of the day, Bindo has had his wish. So no one can say Bindo is one of those governors who want Oshiomhole out. So the people who went to protest, they came up with 3 names that merely portray them more or less like rumor mongers. How they fired me may have had issues with some leaders of the APC in the beginning. But how they fired me almost killed himself working hard for APC to win in Osun. I know that clearly. So anyone who says that how they fire me is one of those who do not like Oshiomhole, who want Oshiomhole to fail, and by extension, the failure of the president, must have probably staggered out of a pub, not even knowing, not being able to explain his own actions. Oh, these are the issues. You've not even talked about the man in Zamfara who was promising violence. So you cannot, if you want to do top 10 haters of Oshiomhole among the governors, there's no way that people like Bindo will feature. There are still people from the beginning, the governors who opposed the idea of even congresses.
Yes.
Remember?
The extension.
Before the vice president now laid out the legal implications of not having congresses and convention of the party. Remember?
The extension.
Those governors, the 3 governors who opposed the idea, and in the beginning, 4 governors, 4 governors opposed the idea to the point that the governor of Imo State began to attack them and say, you people always form loyalty to the president as if you are the only ones who like the president. People like Governor Lalong were on that list, those first 4. The little man in Kaduna is also on that list. These are the 4 governors who opposed who wanted tenure elongation. Remember?
For Oyegun.
For Oyegun, you see, I think the only person now who featured on that list and who is on this list, he's the governor of Ondo State.
That's Akeredolu?
Yes.
Arakun?
Yes, he's the only one. So you did not even list, out of 3 people, you didn't put them on the list. You are saying, can defy me? And you are talking about, you have not listed Amosun, who is as bitter at this time. You've not mentioned him. But you are mentioning Bindo. Oh, what's Bindo's concern? Everything that he wanted, they gave to him on a silver platter. So why should Bindo quarrel? In fact, if governors are gathering now to kick Oshiomhole out, he will be looking at them like a bat. Apologies to Fayose. He will be looking at them like a bat. So that is the thing, that's the reality. These are the people those argue. You see, the interesting and funny aspect of it all is that within the APC now, we are seeing people sponsoring protests against their own fellow party members. Because that's what is happening. And the people protesting now, they are so misguided that they can't even come up with an authentic list of the Oshiomhole haters. So it will suggest to you that some people either have one reason or the other to get at how they find me, or other people on the list. Because you see a deliberate talking about Ondo, as if when we are looking at this whole problem, Ondo is the biggest example. No. How about Zamfara?
Zamfara will not be fielding candidates for the election.
How about other places? How about Ogun? But you are now mentioning Ondo. It means that some politicians just gather these people with an intention in mind to embarrass those 3 governors. There are bigger antagonists of Oshiomhole. There are bigger enemies of Oshiomhole whose names have not been mentioned. So this is the way I see it.
Afolabi, from the crisis, what do you read between the lines?
I think just like what he has said, it's very clear that for anybody to even put Kayode Fayemi's name on that list, that is completely mischievous and erroneous. Remember during the rerun, in fact, before the rerun in Osun gubernatorial election, Kayode Fayemi led federal government high-power delegation alongside Oshiomhole to ensure that Umishore, at a very critical point, in fact, the person who conducted that election, who of course became an hero at the end of the day, was Iyola Umishore. So Kayode Fayemi was on the delegation of the federal government. So
Umishore conducted which election?
What I'm saying is that to engage Umishore in the negotiation, which was very key to the gubernatorial election in Osun State. So for somebody to say Kayode Fayemi is against Oshiomhole, that's completely mischievous, and that information is not correct. In as much as I agree that there are crises in APC, I think it is even a shame. To me, I would see it as a credit. If you are a governor of a state and you ensure that a level playing field is established in the primaries in your state, which most of the governors I've seen so far have not done. They want to even be the annex chairman. They want every governor in their state, as far as APC issue is concerned, this crisis, every governor wants to be APC chairman in his own state, even at national level. So when you put somebody as the chairman of a party, that person is duly bound to exercise some level of authority as far as democracy is concerned.
Yes, yes.
They don't want, what is the relevance
They
of
want their own word to be law.
To be law. And he is the chairman of All Progressive Congress. He has a reason to ensure that democracy is established in his state. What would be Oshiomhole's gain for him to have disrupted democratic process in any state? It is the governor that wanted to establish and ensure that candidates are even imposed.
Yes.
If there is failure as far as the crisis, as far as primary is concerned, all over the federation, it is the governor of the state, who is the chief executive officer of that state, that has messed up things. Oshiomhole is overall is representing the interests of APC across board.
Mojid, let's talk the politics now. I had a conversation before I entered the studio, and somebody placed a scenario in my face and say, look, anytime there's going to be an election, that's one of the joy that these governors derive is the ability to choose the 3 senators that will go to the Senate and choose the House of Rep members for patronage or to reward some of their boys. In the case of Arakune Akeredolu now, the 3 senators in Ondo states actually returned. And there's one that featured prominently, that's Ajayi Borough. They don't see. There are other 5 House of Rep members that are on that list that's at the detriment of the people that Arakune want to, push up. So do you think Oshiomhole, they are now asking that when Oshiomhole was the governor, would he have, allowed that kind of thing to happen?
Yeah, it goes down to the fact that everybody wants to be a Jagaban in his own state. But then, you don't become a Jagaban in a year or 2 years. Ashwaju has been there since 1999. And I'm digressing a bit so that we can understand some of these things. Koro left APC and came back, and he said he has learned his lessons. Today, Jide, his son, is a rep candidate in Lagos. Now, back to these other states. You see, selfish interest of some of these governors is what is pushing them to outright confrontation with the national with the national chairman of the party. Because when you want to take absolute control and you want to ostracize others, there's no way they will sit down and just look at you no matter how powerful you are. And that's why, if the people's will must prevail, the party insisted on direct primaries, which puts the choice of who becomes the candidate actually in the hands of the
ordinary party member.
Now, Ojit, let me just pause you there. Let me take this break. When we come back, I'll come back to you. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Still on the intra-party crisis within the All Progressive Congress. Mojid.
Like I was saying now, the big deal there is the fact that APC is the ruling party. And I'll give you a scenario. From the sale of forms from presidency down to assembly, to state assemblies, APC raked in about 14 billion naira from sale of forms alone. Now, in PDP raked in...
Is it 14? Yes. We talked about it, maybe 26, have you? Okay.
12.6.
Okay.
Yeah, but
it will be higher than
I think it's about 14 billion on the last count. Now, in PDP, it's less than 2 billion naira. So you can...
Some of their own rates were lower.
No, apart from the fact that the rates were lower...
The number of people.
Look at Lagos State, for example. You have just one candidate, one aspirant, vying. In Rivers, where Wike practically picked the people who will contest. Unlike in a state like Bauchi, where we had about 22 aspirants, and Borno, about 22 aspirants for governorship, multiplied by, I think it's 22 million naira. So, if the stakes are higher in APC because they know that with the party in power, is the ruling party, you know, you have the comparative, you have the comparative advantage. So it also goes down to the fight. And like Jide said, and Akinola, you see, how would anybody put Kayode Fayemi? I mean, people, and you left Amosu. Amosu is the most aggrieved APC governor in Nigeria today because he's still insisting that it is Akinlade or nobody, whereas Dapo Abiodun has already set up his campaign committee. He's going to announce his DG very soon. So Amosu is aggrieved. Aketi is also bruised a little, but for anybody to mention Fayemi, I mean, I won't talk about Fayemi because Jide has already spoken on that because he is also from his adopted state, Ekiti. So I won't talk about that. But then,
Southern people can't even be taking on my adopting governor and my adopted governor and not
and you keep quiet.
So you'll be defending his interest now?
No.
Okay, you defended Fayose before he left?
No, I didn't. I see. Fayose may have his issues. Where I think it's right, I will say it's right. Where I think it's wrong, I will say it's wrong. You know, there is no creation of God who is totally bad. So that's him. Kayode Fayemi has taken over now. He has become my adopted governor. And I have every reason to support him in any way that I deem fit. So people can't go on ranting that he wants the party to fail, this and that, and not expect some form of reaction from me. No, especially when I know that they are lying against him. So that is the thing.
Babajide, now, the bigger effect, the bigger picture is 4 months to the election. If members of House of Representatives, if they're going to leave because they didn't get their tickets, and I'm looking at the damaging impact on the All Progressive Congress.
People are leaving already, and House of Reps members, some of them are leaving. And that's what continues to weaken the APC. You know, there is no doubt that every time you lose a member, you become weaker. Those who sit in their homes and deceive themselves that, oh, good riddance, let that politician go. They should know that when you have that politician with you, you are a lot stronger. When he leaves, you are weaker. The Osun election demonstrated that to us. We had people who were boasting that, look, let them go. But it reflected after they left.
Massively.
So party leaders must take the right decisions, because those decisions that you take may haunt you in the final analysis. And in my view, maybe after 1 or 2 cycles of elections, we should be able to make party supremacy a lot more accentuated in our country. We must accentuate party supremacy in our country, such that the kind of battle that Oshomole is fighting now,
alone.
People will see the need for it. People will see that governors are not God. Because these governors remind me of that Sunny Ade song, where he said, he wants of Araye, wipe, afiwo, beni afolorun afeniyan, afolorun oba. These governors should stop thinking that they are God. Because it is God who has the measure of all things. He's the one who can decide, I want this, and it happens.
He's the one that enthrones.
So if you are not God. It's been demonstrated to you. If 3 years ago you felt this is the person who will succeed you, what you don't even realize is that your life can be taken away before then. Now, your life has not been taken away. Give glory to God. But the thing is, you must know that you can't always have your way. No mortal will always have his way, because we are all subject to God. So in this situation now, they must talk to the governors, because I know that some of them will try to sabotage their parties during the coming election. It's in their nature. When their hearts get filled up with bile, as we are seeing now, there's no limit to what they can do. Some of them can take a life. So they have to be watched closely. If the party needs to talk to some of them, to those governors, that's, look, this is our party. forget what has happened. Let's move on.
It's even difficult to work with
move on.
the person that has emerged in your party.
So let's
If
move
it's
on.
not your
If it is
anointed
not
person.
just, yeah, it must the person who succeeds you be the person that you anointed. There's no guarantee that you won't even quarrel with the person you've anointed. We've given all kinds of examples, just that these governors don't learn. So you can anoint someone and the next day will quarrel with you. We see it happens all the time.
Listen.
Even a governor who will sit like a bat, let him become governor, maybe after like 24 hours. You see what will happen. Someone once told me that what Asiwaju said some time ago. He said, you will never know what your own son can do with power until he has it. You know? When we put power in the hands of your own son, you will see how he can use it. You will never know until that power is placed in his hands. Then he can decide that, my dad, you sit there. You can't go. You can't go there. No, I won't listen to you. I listen to this fellow. So that is the way it is. When those guys mount the saddle, they want to be their own man. They don't want somebody sitting somewhere and just backing out orders to them. Because they see themselves, oh, I'm the governor, I'm the number one person in the state. So that is the thing.
Let me pick, Muta is calling us from Kano. Thank you for hanging out, Muta.
Yeah, how are you doing, gentlemen?
Very well.
Babajide Adekaki.
Alhamdulillah.
Let me contribute to what you are discussing now.
Okay.
From my own point of view, those people that formed APC were mostly defectors from other parties, particularly PDP. They were in APC just to satisfy their own personal interest, not to do any other thing. So they become rebels. They try to show their indiscipline to the party because of their investment that they made in the policy. They invested so much so they cannot be able to receive any instructions from anybody because of their investment. They look there like you have been saying, small God with small g.
Yes.
So it is just a kind of people that are not interested in the development of Nigeria, with exception of Mr. President. They are all there to satisfy their own interests, nothing more than that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mukhtar. Some people will say the quality of legislation we have, if we have out of 109 senators, if it has been established that 50% of them will not be coming back.
More than that.
More than 50% will not be coming back. And how good is this for the stabilization of our democracy?
Because among those who have even won primaries, some will lose in the election.
Lose the main election.
I think there is this saying that a friend in power is a friend lost. So sometimes it's funny when you look at this kind of game going on. I think one of the arguments, one of the issues raised by some of those people who lost the chances of coming back was the fact that the primary election was highly supervised and manipulated by the governors of their states. If I lose genuinely as a Democrat, I have every reason to abide by the rules and regulations and, of course, support the emerging candidate, as a matter of fact. But if I know that I lost this election because there was manipulation somewhere, it will advance the crisis already established in APC. And I want to also say this clearly, that caution must be established, especially by the ruling class. With the momentum of PDP, at least at national level, if you think overconfidence and incumbency, and again, the fact that you are the chairman of your state in all angles, all voices of reasons will be jettisoned by you. You'll be shocked at the general election. That's just my submission. So the crisis on ground was highly engineered by the governors. And if you are not careful, in fact, enemies are very good in ensuring that this crisis...
Let me allow Moji to wrap this up.
For the APC, it can't get worse than having the leadership of both houses in the hands of the opposition. Even given the fact that they all, especially Dogara and Saraki. So I think they need to really manage the success of the 2015 electoral victory of Buhari and consolidate on that, and don't, anything can just happen. It is becoming increasingly difficult to rig elections. Nigerians are wiser. the experiences in how close the elections were in Ondo and now Osun. No, sorry, Ekiti and Osun. I mean, it's enough to tell us that Nigerians are wiser. People will monitor results right from polling units. So, I mean, you really need to work hard for you to earn electoral victory.
All right, moving on now. The purpose behind making laws and the spirit behind living or acting by the laws are always on collision paths in our country. Most of the problems, it has been observed, arise as a result of lack of proper implementation of laws. The Nigerian Senate has taken another step aimed at sanitizing the electoral process. At the plenary on Tuesday, the Senate, for the fourth time in 2018, passed the electoral law amendment bill, pegging party campaign expenses. It eventually passed into law. If eventually this is passed into law, a presidential candidate cannot spend more than 5 billion naira. Underline that, 5 billion naira as campaign expenses, while a governorship candidate cannot go beyond 1 billion naira. A senatorial candidate is just 250 million naira, and that of House of Representatives is pegged at 100 million naira, among others. Gentlemen, how lofty the electoral law, Babajide, I don't know. If you want to contest for the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, somebody actually gave me a breakdown that we have 120,000 polling units, that you have to have agents. And those agents, if you give them a minimum of 10,000 naira or 5,000 naira as their allowances for that day to man each of these polling units, and double it, multiply it by 120,000. This is going to billions already. I'm sure it will be edging towards that, the ceiling. For a live coverage, for those of us that are on television, we know how much that is per hour. Per hour. For the jingle, for the documentary you want to run. At the end of the day, how realistic and who is going to check this ceiling?
Well, the devil is in the implementation. You can come up with laws, but how do you implement? Because, look, as I always say, when Fashola was asked why he didn't ban Okada outright in Lagos, because in the East, Okada was banned outright in Enugu, banned outright in Abia. And people were saying, why, Fashola, why can't you just ban them outright? Why limit them to certain routes? And he said, I will not come up with a law that I'm not sure I can implement. Because what is the point? It's the policemen who will implement. Even some of those policemen, what they do these days is even they too do Okada riding at night. They have painted,
military guys.
They painted the bottoms of their bikes, the mud flap. They paint the mud flap with the colors of the police, so that when another policeman sees the Okada, he knows that this belongs to a policeman, so he will not even enforce the law. And you will see them riding on those routes that Fashola stipulated they must not ride on. But nobody can catch them because you see the colors of the police that you see, you know that this is a no-go area. So that's one. Now, campaign expenses. How do you ensure that nobody exceeds this? It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult, and I really do not see how it can be exceeded. But at some point, we really must do something to cap campaign funding. You know why it will be difficult to even come out to enforce this? Because it is low. People will need to spend more than this.
For presidential?
Presidential especially, they will need to spend more than this.
Waziri will spend time.
See, some of the governors, 1 billion.
1 billion. For
party leaders who sit in the party secretariat, who wait at the end of every 4 years to make candidates. What they collect in form of dollars from candidates is usually more than this. It's usually more than this. And then who checks? Who ensures that a candidate with deep pockets, or an aspirant with deep pocket, because it was during the primaries that a lot of these party leaders were bribed right inside their secretariat, whether at APC or PDP. They will take money to them and they will collect. So who will ensure that a candidate who has so much money does not go to the party secretariat and say, Mr. Chairman, I want your blessings. And then he slips wads of dollar notes into the hands of the chairman.
Destabilizing.
Or he sends someone, a different person, which is their style. He will not come directly, he will send a different person to go and give a party chairman as much as $500,000 in our country. Who ensures that, because that is supposed to be part of campaign expenses, who ensures that that doesn't happen? And then, of course, when you look at the electronic media, it's expensive to run any form of campaign on the electronic media. Before you know it, these people will spend much more than we are talking about.
Yes, sir.
And if it is difficult for them to keep themselves within the limits that these people that are stipulated by the Senate, honestly, they will not obey.
5 billion chicken feed.
In any case, the president has 3 times refused to give his assent to this amendment. So nobody knows what he will do next. Maybe even this one, he will have disagreement with some of the clauses and then refuse to give his assent.
Akinola, effectively, a poor man cannot become the president of Nigeria.
Well, he can be daydreaming, but in reality, he can't, no matter how bright his ideas are. Well, I think, generally speaking, it is good to make laws for regulatory purposes and all that. I hope those who ensure that this is, of course, put together, knows that this kind of money is not traveling through treasury single accounts. Because treasury single account regulates the way you spend and all that. But this is not treasury single account.
It's on the same.
So if you have a laughable...
A lot of it won't be transferred
So
Is it cash somewhere?
So if how do you measure this when treasury single account is not being introduced into? So laughable ideas are funny as far as this, but I think by and large, there are remarkable success in some of what they are put across, which is, of course, legalizing the card readers, at least to the legitimacy, of card readers, and which, of course, and again, the criteria reasonably for substitution of candidates. Because we have to look at it, because if you substitute a candidate against the will of the electorate, that might even make such a candidate lose election, because that's by and large imposition. So there are very interesting essentials which they have injected into this apart from the financial aspect.
So, Mojid, I was told that what happened to in Kogi was actually corrected in this electoral acts. That's the situation whereby we had the candidates. The candidate died before the result was announced. The result was announced, and they are now saying that a fresh primaries will be held within 1 week.
Yeah, I think that's one of the innovations that the Kogi experience has brought up.
That has never happened to us before.
That happened, and it's good that they have taken that into consideration. And like Jide also said, getting the card reader into the use of the card reader, getting it into the Electoral Act 2010 as amended for 2018. I hope the president has sent that one is also another good one, because as at the last count,
it wasn't there.
It wasn't there, and we can't actually cite that in court. So, but like now,
it affected some court cases.
Yeah, some court cases. So those are very good stuff. But where I have a quarrel is pegging. You see, when we know that certain things are very obvious, and we are trying to hide under one finger. Even if you want to be modest, to run for president, if you want to pay polling unit attendants, what they call party agents, on election day, if you are paying them 5,000 times 120,000 naira, is 6 billion naira.
Ashiri. Let me pick this call. Yakub is calling us from Lagos.
Yeah, thank you, Ayo.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, Babajide and the rest of the team.
Good evening.
Please, let me begin by saying by using my dialect, by saying that all those governors, Imotara Nilikan, those don't want to I know Babajide will help me to translate it later. You see, Babajide have said it all. I don't know when these people will come to realize and listen to Babajide. So that if they can be able to listen to Babajide very well, to realize that if you make sure that you put your own person there, the ideas you can be able to lay out to you, maybe 1 year. After that 1 year, you become an enemy. I don't understand it. For me, I don't pray that they will succeed of being removed from Oshi Omale.
Thank you. Thank you, Yakub. We're talking about 6 billion initial expense.
Yeah, that's
polling units.
Yeah, for polling units. Let's come down to Lagos. There are 8,600 polling units and 3,600 polling points. You know, the difference when you add that together, you have more than 12,000 for Lagos alone. So, and in Lagos, I doubt if anybody will collect 5,000 naira for you to stand from morning till night to protect your vote. So, you might need about 10,000. That's about 1.2 billion.
That's for
governorship.
For governorship.
They pay them much more than that.
Yeah, they pay more than that. That's, you see,
that's polling, that's election day.
And on election,
not banner, not billboards,
not billboards, not campaigns, not what you call elders money, elders package, then visits to even to fund your campaign to run from one point to the other. The vehicles that are going to be on your convoy. I mean, the people that will follow you, you're not going to put water in those these things, and you provide refreshment for them.
Any point that you go to, traditional rulers, big people,
you won't be using the private jet.
Private jets.
You hire private jet.
If it's for president,
in Ondo it was Dibosco Sebe. In Oshun Primary, before it was aborted, it was Dibo Kora Micra. You know, there's something
that's more
this thing.
The one that Tazi they use in Ibadan. That tiny.
Yes.
Okay.
The Bokora Micra. So, some people were already front loading 300,000 naira. So, is that then the money they just finished? The money they spent in Port Harcourt to elect Atiku. I mean, it's all. It's everywhere.
Is that part? I was not there.
Is that part of this money we are talking about? So we are just deceiving ourselves. And even for a councillor, the law went down to a councillor recommends 5 million for a councillor, 30 million for a chairmanship candidate. Where will that school cert holder who just, that graduate who just finished from school and wants to give back to the society get 5 million to run for councillor, or 30 million to run for chairmanship, or 30 million for House of Assembly? So when we are saying that the politics is still beyond the reach of the ordinary man, so we should not deceive ourselves.
Finally, on this electoral act, I wonder...
5,000 naira times 120 is 600 million.
Okay.
Not 6 million.
120,000.
120,000.
120,000.
At 5,000 naira.
At 5,000 naira is 6 billion, not 600.
Wow.
So one of our viewers.
Okay, just send that. Okay. Thank you for. Now, I'm looking at everything now. By the time we finish this, it went to Mr. President. Mr. President returned it. I think this is like the second or third time. Before it was because of election sequence. Now the National Assembly jettisoned that, and I think the court after jettisoning the thing, I think the court spoke. I can't remember really now, but this back and forth over our 2000 this electoral act. This should be the final copy.
It has to be because we are approaching an election, so. And the president must give his assent. Otherwise, the Senate might be forced to override his veto, which he would not want. Because, there have been examples in the past.
Was this like an enabling law, a legal framework for that election?
The NDDC bill, the Senate overrode Obasanjo's veto. Okay. You know, in passing the NDDC bill into law. So, if it drags on and on, then they might be forced to to override this veto.
And it's not a friendly National Assembly, so to say, right now.
No, they won't even hesitate to do it because there are many people with eyes blazing in the Senate now.
This aggrieved mood.
Eyes blazing, can almost light a stick of cigarette. So in such a situation, they won't even waste time.
With
so
speech,
the president,
BU, APC, BU, PDP.
the president should just come, into the,
just manage
kind of,
middle way.
Agreement with them on some of these issues so that we can move on. Some of the things that they come up with are noble. I agree with some of them. For example, there's no reason why a candidate's name or the logo of his party should not be on the ballot. And they are saying that if that happens,
the election becomes
if it's at the point of pasting the electoral materials on the wall, you discover that your name is missing or
the logo of your party.
Then the election has to be cancelled, and then they do another election. And then, of course, for the card reader, they have also come up with a decision that in case the card reader does not work in a place, after 3 hours, if they do not bring another card reader, if they can't find another card reader to work,
replace it.
3 hours to the end of the election.
Then another election will be conducted in 24 hours.
24 hours after, they must do a fresh election, which means they want our elections, the electronic accreditation of the electoral process should be used, because the idea of not using the card reader encourages rigging.
And they will be front-loading
results
now.
They want the card reader to be used. They want the card reader to be used at all costs instead of the so-called
incident form.
I
think
form.
that's the thing of the
This
past.
is zero tolerance to negligence on the part of INEC. They don't want that. Zero tolerance.
No, from what
to
we've seen, I think INEC is. So, finally, learning to build a water body when it is still in ankle deep is a true test of being proactive. A stitch in time could have prevented the theater of war that the National Health Insurance Scheme, NHIS, is gradually becoming after the purported suspension of the Executive Secretary, Professor Usman Yusuf. The presidency has stepped into to resolve the crisis. Presidential spokesperson, that is Garba Shehu, said the secretary to the federal government of the federation, to the government of the federation, that's Alhaji Boss Mustafa, and the health minister, Professor Isaac Adewale, have waded in towards finding lasting solution, with the House of Representatives also resolving to probe the agency's activities. We hope the matter will be settled once and for all. Mojid, what is happening in NSIS? This man was at a point in time suspended by the minister, and at the same time he was ordered back by the presidency. Now he was suspended by the board. And from Garba Shehu's statement, you discover that I think the federal government, the presidency, they're still very much with Usman Yusuf.
Yes, before I answer that, let me thank the viewer that sent that message to Jide. It's actually 600 million, is correct. We are trying to look at how feasible the 5 billion
okay,
amount
is. That nobody will even take 5,000.
That is it.
So if you spend 10,000,
it's going to be like minimum of
INEC
ad hoc staff that day.
Pay them 20,000
for a day.
Yeah.
The staff, what's it called? Political parties still give them money on their own.
Yes.
So that
and
they
also,
will cooperate.
You need a party agent and a canvasser. So you need at least two per podium, so that at least when they are two, they won't be able to compromise and they won't be able to wrest power from them. Now, going to Yusuf, you see, I wonder if this Professor Usman Yusuf is the only person who can handle that place. It's like, why must we force ourselves on others? The health minister had an issue with this. He won't take instruction from anybody, from the health minister in the first instance, claiming that the health minister didn't appoint him.
Yes, that's
now
under him.
He was reinstated by the presidency, which I saw as, And that one was an affront on the minister. It ridiculed the minister. I mean, that's gone. Now the board of that organization, I saw that lady reeling out the offenses and said this Professor Yusuf should go on suspension while, and that was on October 18, while they carry out while they set up an administrative panel to look into his activities. Lo and behold, he came in with security men, forced his way into the office. I mean, now the workers, the civil service union, constituted themselves to a protest group, and that office has been shut down since October 18 because of one person. And now Garba Shehu will come and tell us that there are people should not read ethnic and political meanings to what is happening in the NHIS. But I think we should go beyond all these sentiments, and even the man himself should say, come guys, this thing is not a matter of life and death.
If it's not working?
If it's not going to work between us, let me step aside.
If it's all about service?
If it is all about service, I want to believe there are more things to this issue of the NHIS than it makes the...
Afolabi, what do you know about this saga?
I think let me say, Nigeria is a country that should be governed by rules. When you have a board, it's a statutory body. Even if you are innocent of any allegation so far, the moment you are excused, you can't be investigated when you are still in charge.
But they're saying the powers of that board, they're trying to say that it's not the power of that board.
But I think section
that they don't have that power to suspend.
We need to look
according
at
to I've not seen the act of NHIS.
The act that established NHIS. I think section 8 of that act gave the president the sole, the word SOLE.
The president, have you?
Yes, the sole
not the board.
Not the board. The sole responsibility to appoint. And technically, whoever appoints has also the right to fire. But I think when you, of course, also has
that
a
should
board,
be amended. What's the essence of the
so
board?
those are the issues. When you also have a board, the board also has a role to play. Every institutions, every government process has a board that must oversee certain things. So if there are allegations, if you have been queried and if you have been suspended, once you even understand that procedures must be followed. But I think there is a clash here, and which of course gave room for impunity.
Yeah.
With this section in the Electoral Act, if you are not careful, if you are not humble enough, anybody in the of the NHIS,
yes.
Anybody in this category will be extremely powerful and be rude.
That I report to the president directly.
I report to the president directly.
Not the minister.
Not the minister. So the minister is to me nobody in this regard. No. So if I'm not responsible to you, even if I erred genuinely, I will not respond to you. And again, looking at the statement,
nothing is happening in SEC and between the SEC and the Ministry of Finance.
So, and again, look at the statement. Look at the statement of the special assistant to the president of media. In this regard, look at the statement of the special assistant to the president of media, defending the act. To me, this is the act of hooliganism. Coming to the office with security men, no matter how good intention is. No matter how good intention is, in fact, it's more or less vandal.
Sending very, very wrong signals.
Babajide, please, what do you make of this situation?
Well, first and foremost, I think it has reached the point that the president on his own needs to step in and do something. There's no way we can get our health sector right if we do not get the NHIS element of it right. Because as we speak now, we've not achieved sufficient subscription to the NHIS scheme. We've only achieved 5% penetration, whereas a country like Ghana has achieved about 45% penetration. And this NHIS scheme is a laudable scheme. It is affordable. through it, we can reach multitudes. We can reach a good chunk of our people and be able to provide health care. But if we cannot get it right, today quarrel, tomorrow quarrel, then it means that the laudable idea behind the NHIS will fail. So that's why the president has to step in. One of the best things that Obasanjo did is this, either the NHIS scheme and the contributory pension scheme. Because if those things work, definitely it will make a lot of Nigerians happy. This kind of health scheme has succeeded in other lands, even in Europe and America. So it should work here. But there's no way it can work if the people who are supposed to manage it are always at loggerheads, always quarreling amongst themselves. The truth is, when people, I think Garba Shehu to try to say that this guy is fighting corruption, and that is why he's having the issues that he has. But Yusuf is not the only person fighting corruption.
In Nigeria.
Why is it that they are not telling the customs man to go? He's fighting corruption.
I mean, the custom.
He's a no-nonsense person.
Or the man
in Jamb.
Why are they not telling
the man
him
in
to
Jamb is doing well. He's fighting corruption.
He has been remitting
he famously discovered a money-guzzling snake.
The snakes no longer swallow them.
He discovered that snake. So he's done well. He's done well. My former VC, he's done well.
Snakes.
So he's not the only person fighting corruption. So something must be wrong. They need to look
into the matter.
They need to investigate him further. I've seen some posts that some people have sent, because in Nigeria it's so easy to divide us.
Yeah. Very easy.
We are so selfish as a people that one way to see how divided we are is when a matter is on ground like this. You see people want to take position. North, South, APC, PDP, Christian, this is the way we are.
Muslim.
Yeah. This is the way we are. You see, even when you post something on Facebook, which is a medium busting at the seams with all kinds of funny Nigerians. When you post something on Facebook, look at the pattern of reactions.
Yes.
It will show clearly to you the demographics of our division as a people.
Oh God!
People, if it makes the PDP people happy, you'll see they will be the ones to say they like this. If you are objective, but the objectivity hurts APC members, they will not even move near it.
No, some days they'll go and put Jide's name on their wall. In front like this, it's that man. We don't know what he's talking about.
We don't even know where he belongs.
Settled.
No, you say something as if I exist or I do the program to simply say what they like to hear. No,
at any given time.
What is my own with you? I am a journalist. My commitment to the truth is unshaken. But for you, you are just an individual who is happy.
Some will even ask us to learn from our other programs. As if we don't have a
they want us to learn
for this program.
They want us to learn from programs where you bring people and then they just answer questions from you. But here we are allowed
all sorts of ridiculous things.
It should show you the level of ignorance of our people. We are supposed to express our opinions on a program like this. They will now tell you to go. There is one of my little brothers in a rival station. Can't you learn from him? Meanwhile, his own job is
different from what you are doing.
My own duty is not to ask politicians questions. My duty is to tell politicians the truth.
Educate Nigerians.
Yes. And we can editorialize.
Yes. So that is the thing. Somebody has access to cheap data and does it on Facebook doing rubbish.
Thank you, Moji Jabiu. Afolabi Akinola, thank you. And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you, and that's it on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms, showing on the screen. Also on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Ozubahu. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.